Hello and welcome to Migrating Legacy JE Applications to vFabric Reference Architecture. In this screencast, we are going to look at the data migration from DayTrader RDBMS into SQLFire. We will explore the DayTrader schema deployed on Apache Derby database and create the SpringTrader schema for SQLFire. After creating the schema, we'll demonstrate the use of Apache DDL utils to load the data into SQLFire and apply SQLFire techniques such as partitioning and replication to the data definition language. Here we see the DayTrader database running on Apache Derby server on port 1527, and we connect to that database using IJ tool using JDBC connection string to see the number of tables and indexes in DayTrader schema. Let's have a quick look at the SpringTrader schema data model. We have account profile table with profile ID as a primary key, and account table with account ID as a primary key, and it references the profile ID from account profile, and quote table with quote ID as a primary key, and holding table has a holding ID as a primary key, and order table has order ID as a primary key, and it references both account table and holding table with account ID and holding ID as foreign keys in the order table. Let's go through the converted data definition script for SpringTrader. Here it's a regular SQL, but the key thing here is when it comes to account, what we are saying is it's persistent synchronous. The entire table is going to persist on the disk, and it is partitioned by primary key. That means to say that the data within the account table is going to be partitioned across different SQLFire members in the distributed system. And when it comes to account profile, it's persistent synchronous and Hibernate sequences as well. The holding table is partitioned by column, which is account underscore account ID, and it's co-located with the parent table, which is account. The same here with orders table, it's co-located with account. By doing this, we are forcing the database to store its child rows with the parent. The whole notion of how do we linearly scale the data is to think about the access patterns. Here we are going to assume that by co-locating orders with account, we are typically joining these two tables with the stuff that we are going to access the most often. The general idea is that here we are going to take the related entities and group it together and store it together. Let's execute the SpringTrader SQLFire scripts on the SQLFire members. Here we have two members in a cluster in a distributed system, and we have a locator service running on port 1528 to discover between the two members. Let's connect to the first member and execute the script. Here we have connected. We will execute the data definition script here. We have successfully created all the tables. Let's verify the table creation. App is a default schema, so we have 6 tables created here. Let's verify the indexes as well. Here we go. Here we have successfully created the SpringTrader tables in a default schema, and those tables are available on both the members. Now let's see how we import the data into SQLFire. You can use either SQLFire commands or Apache DDL utils to import the data into SQLFire from other databases. Here we are going to demonstrate SQLF command to import the data from Apache Derby database into SQLFire. SQLF utility provides several commands that use the DDL utils API to export and import database schemas and table data. You can use this SQLF commands with SQLFire and other JDBC data sources. To use the SQLF export commands with third-party databases, you require JDBC driver and connection URL for the database. Ensure that the class path is set to the appropriate jar file and path is set to the SQLFire bin directory. To import the data from DayTrader Apache Derby database into SQLFire, we will use the SQLF commands to export the schema and data into XML file. Here first we'll export the schema by this command, and then we'll export the data into the XML. Finally, we will use the SQLFire data to DB command and specify both the data XML file and the schema XML file to import the data into SQLFire. Now that we have successfully imported data from Apache Derby database into SQLFire, we will verify the data by connecting to the SQLFire node. Here we have connected SQLFire node and we will verify the data. Here we go. By this, we conclude the data migration into SQLFire. Thanks for watching this screencast.